Hi, welcome back to Mark and Cindy's Food Forest here in Lutz, Florida. I'm Tropical Fruit Man, and today is Thursday, December 22nd, about 1:30 in the afternoon. And I thought I would do a video, and it's going to be in a couple of parts here. We're going to show how everything looks in the garden prior to getting a freeze that's coming within a day and a half here. And it's going to be pretty bad. The temperatures are going to be down into the low 30s, which means here in Lutz we're looking at 28 degrees, maybe a little bit lower. It's going to be the coldest winter we've had in a long time. And I just wanted to show how everything looks and talk a little bit about that, and then we'll come back after the freeze and we'll see the damage that was done. This is my ice cream bean tree, and you can see there where it's been hacked off. This thing took a hit last year in January when we got a freeze. And as a result, it had to be cut way back, and so now it's come back really nice. It's really full. Everything looks good. No fruit this year, obviously, because it had to recuperate and regrow, which was the case with a lot of my tropicals this year. So I was waiting for the next summer, which would be coming up next year here shortly. And as a result, I thought I was going to get some fruit this summer, and looks like I'm going to be cutting back a lot of my tropicals again. So I'm back to square one. So haven't done any videos in a while, and I should have done one on the hurricane. It was very interesting and shown the damage. So I'm going to start cataloging, doing more videos of these events that happen, the freezes, hurricanes, whatever it may be, just to give you an idea of what goes on here. So this is my cherry of the Rio Grande, which will do just fine. It handles temperatures that are pretty low. Never had an issue with that during the winter. Mulberry tree has some leaves on it right now, but that doesn't seem to be affected by the winters at all. It does really well. Here's my strawberry guava tree, Cattleya guava, and this has no problem handling the cold either. What I'm worried about, of course, is my banana trees. These are what are called Mysore bananas, and I've never done a video on those. I had a couple of racks that I got off, 3 racks this past summer. Most delicious tasting bananas you've ever had. They are really, really good. And of course, I'll be showing you those after the freeze. They're gonna be taking a big hit, so we'll take a look at those also. The fig tree here normally does very well. Got plenty of figs on here right now, which these figs don't really taste that good in the wintertime, not like the ones we get in the summer. They don't do as well as far as taste goes, but you can see I have figs on them right now, and kiss those goodbye after the freeze. You will not see those on there, or they'll be withered up. So let's take a look around a little bit, show you how green everything looks right now. And this is my pineapple guava tree. No problem with the freeze at all. This will do just fine. What I am worried about is my mango tree. It's my cotton candy mango tree right here. And I'm going to have to try to cover this up the best I can. And we'll see how that does. And here's Lucia. Lucia. That's Lucia. She's ready for the freeze that's coming. So yeah, I'm gonna have to cover up the mango trees and see what kind of damage we get with that. I had to cut those back. And here's the Cary mango. This thing came back really nicely, and again, I'll be probably trying to protect it best I can, wind up cutting it back and starting over again. So we'll see what happens there. And as you can see, my papaya tree has some papayas on it, and we can kiss those goodbye. They will not make it through the freeze. Here's my peach tree. Peach tree needs some freeze, some actually cold chill hours. So this should be just fine, no problem with that. Here's one of my sugar apple trees that I had to cut way back. And of course this thing took a hit last year, had to cut it back. It's coming back again. Now we're going to have to be starting over again with that. Here's some more Mysore bananas. And last year I cut back a lot of the banana trees and they still survived. I had to cut the dead fronds off it, and they did okay. So we'll see how they do during the freeze here. And here is my Barbados cherry tree. Seems to do well in the cold once they're established. I did have to cut it back a fair amount, about 1/3 of it last year, or this past January. And it came back. It's doing good. Didn't get any fruit this year off of it. And here is one of my prized mango trees. This is the coconut cream mango tree. And this also took a hit last year, or this past January, and then I had to cut that back. And it came back really nicely, actually. It's doing really good. But again, we're going to have to probably cut that way back again after this freeze. We're looking at this Saturday morning dropping down to at least 28 degrees, and then the same thing for Sunday. Then Monday maybe not as cold, but still pretty cold. So we're going to get like 2 to 3 days in a row of some really bad cold weather. Here's one of my other banana trees. This is a Goldfinger, and it's got 2 of them together there, you can see. And we'll see how that holds out. Here's another Cattleya guava. This is the yellow strawberry guavas. Seems to do really well in the cold. No problems there. Fig tree here. Does very well in the cold. No problems there. And here's another. This is actually a custard apple tree. I had to cut this way back, and it came back really nice. And now we're looking at the same thing all over again. In the next couple of days it's going to be in bad shape. Here's a ladyfinger banana tree, and this thing here will take a hit. We'll have to see what kind of damage we get. And it looks like my dog wants out. Here we go, Lucia. There she goes. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what we're looking at here with how green everything looks. It's a shame because everything looks good up until December, going into January, and then we get a freeze, and then everything just takes a really bad hit from the cold. So I'm not very happy about this. I'm really kind of bummed out that we have to deal with this. And here's another tree that I'm worried about, and this is the Jamaican cherry, or the strawberry tree as it's called. And this has been giving us some fruit actually the last few months, 4 months or so, and they taste delicious. Taste like little berries, like cotton candy. And I had another tree last January that was killed. Cut it back, it didn't survive. And so I had to replant another one, and here it is, and I'm not sure how that's going to hold out. So we'll see how things go. I just wanted to give you an overview and show you what's going on. Even this cherry of the Rio Grande, as you can tell, it has some flowers on it right now. Isn't that something? The weather's been so warm lately. October, November, December has been really warm, and as a result the trees were just like ready to start doing their thing early, and then lo and behold we get this freeze, and doesn't turn out the way I thought it would turn out. But it's the risk you take when you're growing tropical fruit trees. It's just you have to take that risk in Central Florida. Central Florida is subtropical, it's not tropical, and therefore you have to deal with, the loss when you get cold weather like this in this area. And here is my wax jambu tree, and that will be going indoors. I'm going to have to move that into the patio. I've had this several years in the pot, no fruit yet from it, so I'm going to have to protect that. It does not like the cold. And here's another portion of my garden. Here's a Suriname cherry tree. They seem to do pretty well in the cold also. No problems with that. And my guava trees will take somewhat of a hit. I may have to cut back some of it, but they seem, when they're mature and at this size, that they do pretty well actually. And here's my Pickering mango tree that I had to cut way back from the last freeze, but see how beautiful it is. It's doing really nice, and so we'll be probably cutting that back also. It's just what we have to contend with here. And another Mexican guava tree here. So another fig tree, and this fig tree has some figs on it right now. It's been giving us some fruit, and all of those figs will be gone after the freeze. They will not survive. So not a lot to be happy about, but you know what, I still have other trees that are going to make it, and I think most of my banana trees, hopefully I can just cut the leaves off and they'll come right back. So we're also taking some plants we've moved indoors, the potted plants. We still have a few more that we have to take and bring inside, like these out here. That's a guanabana tree, soursop, and that does not like the cold at all, so that will definitely come in. Chickens are getting ready. They're all prepared. One of the chickens is molting, the one to the right, and they're getting ready for the freeze. So I'll show you in here. We have on our patio, we've been shuffling things around and bringing these trees in. So protecting them, they'll be moved a little bit closer to the house here tonight, and then I'll be using my my heating elements that I can put on my propane tanks, and adding a little heat inside the patio to take care of them. So anyway, just wanted to give you an overview, and here are the blankets. We'll be trying to cover some of the trunks and any trees that can take the weight of the blankets. It's really the best we can do, unless you can keep the heat in from the ground and cover the whole tree. You know, it's worth a try to use the blanket, so I'll do what I can. But anyway, so we'll be coming back here in the next couple of days, maybe 3 days, and we'll show you the results of the freeze, and we'll take it from there. So until we meet again, keep growing and be blessed. Okay, welcome back. Here we are a week later in Tampa, Florida, here in Lutz. And we're looking at some of the plants that we had actually brought into the house. This is a soursop, guanabana, and some other trees that are in pots that we were able to bring in our back room inside. We moved them back out here since the weather has warmed back up to like in the 70s. So today we're going to look at the damage from the freeze that we had, and take a look at what we have. So I use this heater here. As you can see, we had a bunch of the little plants that were against the patio outside we brought in, and I used this heater to keep the plants against the house and to keep those warm. Just to let you know, it got down to 26 degrees here in Lutz 2 days in a row, Saturday morning and then into Sunday for several hours each time. We had 26 degrees in Lutz, and we had some damage. Obviously, I'm going to show you. And here is the ice cream bean that we took a look at last week when we did the first video of this here. And see, these leaves are all curled up and dried up, and the ice cream bean took a hit. But down below, we see some of the leaves here are actually have done pretty well. So a lot of them on top, and we're going to have to see when we get to the warmer weather and I start cutting this back to see exactly how much has to be cut back. And again, it's pretty much like last year. I have to cut it back again and start over, which means I'm not going to get any fruit, probably. Maybe I will. We'll see what happens. And this is the jaboticaba, which was brought inside. We got it back out here, so that's safe. And let's take a look here. These are all the plants that we had brought inside, and they were protected, so everything's good there. And again, the strawberry guava tree, we talked about that. No issues with that. It takes the cold very well. Well, let's focus on the damage here and see what happened. Well, here we go with the banana trees. Banana trees took a pretty hard hit. You can see all the leaves on it are all yellow and wilted, and just like last year, the same thing. So what we're going to do with the banana tree, all the banana trees, we're going to wait until we know that there is no more cold weather, no freezes that are going to occur. Once I know that's going to be the case, then I will cut those back. I'll start cutting off all the leaves, put all the energy back into the plant to start putting out green leaves. But you know, last year in January towards the end we had a freeze, so we're not out of the woods yet. We have to wait until probably sometime after January just to make sure that there's going to be no more freezes, and at that point I can start cutting these banana tree leaves back. But again, last year the same thing happened, and the trees, the actual trunks look good, if you'll notice here. So the trunks look good on here, they look green, everything's like healthy except for the leaves obviously. So hopefully all the banana trees will survive, providing we don't get another really bad freeze in January. Again, Barbados cherry tree. One thing I didn't show you, well, here's another banana tree, or a couple of them. We actually had a flower on this one, that's gone. So no bananas on that. I got to cut this one tree down, get rid of it. Here's our starfruit tree, and the starfruit tree took a hit also, but I'm also looking at a lot of what looks like healthy leaves on it at the same time, so I'm gonna have to cut that back. But we'll see again in springtime how much I'll have to cut back, and we'll have a better idea. Over here are the sugar apple trees. Here's one of them, and this one here, as you can see, the leaves are all wilted, curled up. I'll be cutting this back again, starting over just like I did last year, and which means I may not get any sugar apples this summer. And here is the other Cattleya guava, the yellow strawberry guava tree, and once again it survived perfectly. It did great in the cold weather. So if you want a good tree that gives a lot of fruit, the Cattleya guava, the red strawberry guavas, and the yellow ones do extremely well in the cold. More banana trees. This here is the ice cream bean. I got the goldfinger here. Again, the leaves wilted, but the actual trunks look good. Same thing here with the ladyfinger. Leaves look horrible, but the trunk looks pretty healthy. Here is my custard apple tree. It's in the same family as the sugar apple. And this thing here took a hit just like I did last year. I cut it way back, and this thing really flourished. Again, a lot of these trees I'm going to have to wait until the end of January into February to see when I can start pruning them back, and see if we can get some more healthy growth. My pineapple trees, or pineapple plants here in the pots, have done pretty well. I want to show you the mango trees because they actually came through pretty well. Here is the coconut cream mango tree, and as you can see, got some burnt leaves here. I covered it fairly well, but the sheets kept coming off of it, and I had a blanket at the bottom of the trunk. But it has done pretty well. There's a lot of good leaves on here, healthy leaves. Better than last year for some reason. I don't know why, but these mango trees, my experience, and my friend Conrad, who I did a video with, will actually testify that once these mango trees go through a freeze, they actually come back, providing they haven't been killed, and they actually come back stronger. And I think that may be the case. This one has some burnt leaves, but at the same time it's got a lot of healthy leaves on it. It looks good. The other mango trees actually did really well. Well, here's another sugar apple tree. And this one again, we'll have to cut it back and see how much we have to cut it back. But here is the Carry mango tree, which we covered really well. And this thing came through with flying colors. It's looking really good. Few yellow leaves on top, but for the most part, the tree did very well. We covered it up pretty well. And the cotton candy actually did really good. Cotton candy mango tree. All the leaves here look pretty healthy. A few little burn on top here, but for the most part it did really good this year. I covered it a little bit better. And I have a Pickering mango. Let's see how the Pickering held out. It did pretty well. Again, here's the Suriname cherry tree. No problems at all. Did really well in the cold. And here's my chicken. She's been molting. It's Lily. She's starting to get her feathers back. She was looking pretty ragged for a while. She's looking better. And Lucia is actually enjoying the warmer weather. Okay, so let's take a look here. The guava tree, pink guava tree, looks pretty good. And sometimes I have to cut a little bit back on that, but not much. They're going to do very well. We actually pulled some guavas off and were able to eat those the last week or so. Before the freeze came, we pulled that off and we were able to eat those. Here's the Pickering, and the Pickering did pretty good. So I have some burnt leaves on top a little bit here, but most of the tree is actually very green. Looks good. They should be blooming this next month. Actually, today's the 30th, so tomorrow's the 31st. And into January we should start seeing the mango trees blooming here in Central Florida. And hoping that all of my trees bloom well. I've hit it with a round of copper spray already prior to the freeze. So we're looking for some mangoes this summer, hopefully. Again, a Barbados cherry tree seems to have done well. Just a little bit of minor damage on them. Some of these leaves here. But for the most part, it's done pretty well. I think a little bit better than last year. So everything looks good. The mulberry tree is typical. From the warm weather, had a lot of leaves. And we'll have to prune that next month and get ready for spring. We should be okay with that. So anyway, just wanted to give you an idea of what we went through here in Central Florida with the freeze. And I really just turned out, I think, pretty good this year, considering we're just hoping that in January we don't get another freeze that's going to damage everything again and set me back. But we'll see what happens. It's part of what we deal with here in Central Florida, trying to grow tropicals, and we'll just see what happens come next month, and hopefully we'll be okay. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you. And good luck to you. Keep growing. God bless. Keep growing.